Hello, hello, hello. Today I am going to be talking about brain science and change. Before I talk about that, I posted earlier I am going to be part of a summit, which is super exciting. I've never been part of one before, and it is for soul led entrepreneurs and having spiritual based businesses. So if that is you, or you just want to hear a whole bunch of really cool, awesome spiritual people talk, feel free to join. It is free, and it is it it is April 17th through the 20th, I believe. But all the information is in that post. So I'm going to be talking all about being an empath and setting boundaries and healing your wounds to help with mindset stuff. And so come join me over there. All the information is in that other link. So I want to talk to you all today about brain science and change. Happy April, by the way. I have a knot in my hair, don't mind me. Happy April. I'm so excited we're here. But also so weird that it's April. So anyway, the two parts of the brain that I want to talk with you all about today are your prefrontal cortex and your amygdala. We have tons of other areas of our brain, and but this is specific to making changes. And so and when we have hi Kelly, and when we have changes, what happens is it activates fear, right? Because just any sort of change, it's just a natural human function. We like our comfort zones, we like to be safe, and so whenever there is change, it's going to activate a fear response on some level inside of you. All right, and so the two things I want to talk about is your prefrontal cortex, which is your executive functioning, okay? It is the part that's in charge of your personality, your decision making, your thinking, your logical thought, your social behaviors. It is basically like me talking to you, okay? Executive functioning, and it's kind of what helps us like be a human in our society, all right? Then we have our amygdala. This is the reptilian part of your brain. So it is so ridiculously old, right? And ancient. It is like it's like our earliest part of our brain. I'm at a loss for words today. And so the amygdala is our fear center, okay? And it is in charge of those 4Fs, the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses, okay? And so, when we, like I said, have change, fear is going to come up. And what is interesting about these two parts of your brain is that they cannot work simultaneously, okay? And so, like, just imagine yourself like you're just, I don't know, at work or, living your life, and then a big change happens, right? And let's just pretend you're at work, right? And you're at work and you're like, la, 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 I'm at work. I'm in my executive functioning. I'm in that prefrontal cortex. I'm like totally like slaying my prefrontal cortex, right? And then news happens and like, I don't know, layoffs are happening or whatever. All of a sudden, you're no longer in your prefrontal cortex and you're in that fear center, okay? Shit, is it going to be me? And then, or whatever, what's going to happen, right? Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. I will do another live that goes into those responses at another time. But essentially, you're no longer rocking your prefrontal cortex, and you're all of a sudden in the back in your amygdala, in that fear center, and they cannot work simultaneously. Okay, that reptilian brain has taken over and thinks that you're getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, and so it is in primal survival mode. All right, and so I always share, like, and I used to share this a lot with my clients, like, just along the way, and they're like, how, like, how have I been working with you for like a year and you're just telling me this? So I like to give this information out freely. And like, you know, at the beginning of my worker relationships with people. So what happens when you go into that amygdala and that fight or flight, freeze or fawn response is you're with fawn, fight or flight, you're in your sympathetic nervous system. And so when that's activated, you get hot because your adrenaline starts to pump, your cortisol starts to pump, and you get hot, your speech gets stuttered, sometimes people's hands get trembly, some people's face flushes, or you get like sweaty pits or whatever. And so what happens is like, you're basically like, you know, like, okay, I got to outrun the saber-toothed tiger. All right. So you can't, like I said, those two parts of your brain do not work at the same time. And so you have to work physiologically with your system. And so if you're getting hot, drink some ice water. You need, or put an ice pack intuitively somewhere on your body, because what's happening is you're sending the messages that your body is cooling down, so you are no longer getting chased by that saber-toothed tiger, okay? So once your body starts to cool down from the ice, it sends a message to the brain that you're safe, okay? And once that happens, the amygdala literally chills out, and then, well, figuratively, whatever, and then you're able to get back into your executive functioning and your prefrontal cortex. And so that then it's like, okay, shit's going down. What are the steps that I have to take to get me out of this situation? Baby steps, okay? Conversely, if you go into freeze response, we don't want anything that's going to cool you down even farther, because the freeze response, your body literally gets cold. And you're like a deer in a headlight. So you want something warming, like an herbal tea or a heated blanket or whatever, fleece, something that's going to warm you up, right? And so you want to work with your body temperature anytime you feel a fear response coming up, one of those 4 F's, okay? When your body starts to cool down or warm up, whichever one is happening to you, then you're able to get out of the amygdala and the fear response and get back into your executive functioning. So take the breather, drink the cool water or warm, and then allowing yourself to get back into your executive functioning. And then once you're there, baby steps are key. So it's like with any change, right? Like I said, there's fear. And I always kind of have this image of like being in a pool, right? And you're like, and the pool is like a pool of change. And then you go and you dive in, right? And then you're like, oh my God, it's freezing. And then you jump out and you're like, I don't want to do this. You know, like big changes, like sometimes, I mean, big changes happen and sometimes you don't have control of them. And sometimes you do, but it's like, you know, you don't want to be like, I'm going to, you know, run a marathon and travel. I don't know, whatever. Big changes, break them down. Bring them down, right? So you don't want to dive into the pool. You want to go over to the little baby end and dip your toe in and then hang out on the first step and then hang out on the second step. The second step's too much. Go back to the first step. No big deal, right? Little itty bitty baby steps, because what happens is it doesn't activate the amygdala. Okay. And so you take these little baby steps of change in this pool, and then soon enough, you're going to be waist deep in change, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm here and my amygdala hasn't even been activated. How awesome is that? So that is the brain science behind change. So I would love to hear from you, and let me know how you do with change and if any of this resonates. And also, if you find that you're having a fear response and you use some of these techniques, let me know about that too and see how they worked. I want to know how they worked for you. All right. I will see you on the flip side. That is all for today, my friends. Mwah. Bye.